By June 28, 1946, the morning sky over Gdańsk, Poland was heavy and pale, more like winter than summer. On a small wooden gallows built in front of a crowded public square, a young woman stood waiting for the command that would end her life. She was 24 years old. Her hair was neatly combed. Her lips, painted on in a faint shade of red, seemed untouched by fear. Her name was Jenny Wanda Barkmann, known to prisoners as the Beautiful Beast of Stutthof. She had been a model before the war. A face that could have lit up theatres or film screens had instead become a symbol of sadism in one of the last concentration camps built by the Third Reich. The survivors who watched her that morning did not see beauty. They saw the woman who had beaten starving children with her fists, who smiled during public hangings, who selected prisoners for the gas chamber as though she were choosing a dress from a wardrobe. Now she would meet the same fate she had delivered so often, death by hanging. Jenny Wanda Barkmann was born in 1922 in Hamburg, Germany. Not much is known about her early life. She was neither impoverished nor privileged. A young woman who worked in small jobs, dreamed of fame, and carried herself with confidence. Friends described her as charming when she wanted to be, cold when she didn't. She came of age in a Germany ruled by Hitler, where uniforms were worshipped and cruelty normalized. By the time she turned 21, Barkmann had joined the SS Women's Auxiliary Corps. Whether out of ambition, ideology, or opportunity, she made her choice and entered the world of the camps. In 1944, she was assigned to Stutthof concentration camp near Gdańsk. It was a place of horror, built on marshland, surrounded by barbed wire and watchtowers, and filled with tens of thousands of prisoners, most of them Jews from Poland and the Baltics. Hunger and disease killed as many as the gas chambers. Barkmann arrived in a tailored SS uniform, tall boots polished, her blonde hair tied in a perfect braid. She was assigned as an Aufseherin, a female overseer. Her job was to enforce discipline, supervise forced labor, and assist with selections. Prisoners quickly learned her name and her smile. Survivors later described her as unpredictable and violent. She beat prisoners with her leather riding crop for walking too slowly or too quickly. She carried a pistol, which she used to execute prisoners without hesitation. One survivor recalled, "She laughed when she hit us. She laughed when she killed." Her favorite amusement, several witnesses testified, was to strike women across the face and then accuse them of insulting an officer. Punishment was immediate, hours of standing at attention or days without food. She once beat a child to death for stealing bread. During executions, Barkmann stood near the gallows, flawless in her uniform, observing the hanging bodies as though she were watching a performance. She never flinched. In early 1945, as the Red Army approached, chaos erupted. The camp was evacuated. Barkmann fled with other SS personnel, escorting prisoners on death marches through the snow. Hundreds died along the way, shot, starved, or frozen. Barkmann abandoned her post soon after and vanished. She was caught weeks later by Polish police in Gdańsk, posing as a civilian, but witnesses recognized her, prisoners who had survived Stutthof and seen her face every day. When they pointed and shouted, "That is her," the one who laughed, she was taken into custody on the spot. She was placed on trial with 12 other former SS officials during what became known as the Stutthof trials, a series of war crimes hearings held in Gdańsk in April and May 1946. The courtroom was packed with survivors, journalists, and citizens who had lost family to the camp. When Barkmann entered the chamber, there was a murmur. She looked different now, her hair shorter, her uniform replaced by a simple dress. Yet she carried herself with the same cold poise. She looked at the judges with faint amusement, as if waiting for a joke to reveal its punchline. The accusations were brutal. Witnesses testified that she beat prisoners until bones broke. She helped select women and children for the gas chambers. She shot prisoners attempting to escape and sometimes those who weren't. One woman told the court she was beautiful, yes, but her heart was as dead as the people she killed. When asked if she denied these charges, Barkmann shrugged. "I only did my duty," she said. "You cannot blame me for being strict." She smirked when the interpreter translated her words for the court. But this trial was not like Nuremberg. There were no long speeches, no philosophical defenses. The judges had heard too many testimonies of starvation, beatings, and death. They had walked through the ruins of Stutthof themselves. They did not need theories. They needed truth. On May 31st, 1946, the verdict was delivered. Jenny Wanda Barkmann was found guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity. The sentence, death by hanging. She heard the words with little emotion. Later, when asked if she had anything to say about her fate, she replied, "Life is pleasant. Death is so cold." In the weeks that followed, she lived in a small cell in Gdańsk. She received no visitors. She spent most days alone, pacing or reading. The guards said she never cried. She asked once if she could have a mirror. They refused. June 28, 1946. The square in Gdańsk was filled with thousands. The citizens demanded a public execution, not in revenge, but in witness. They had seen the bodies dragged from Stutthof. They had watched trains full of emaciated prisoners pass through their streets. They wanted to see the woman who had helped make it happen. Just before 10 in the morning, the condemned were brought out, 5 men and 5 women, including Barkmann. All were dressed in plain clothes. The gallows were lined up in a row. The crowd was silent at first, then tense, then furious. Barkmann was the second to be hanged. As she was led to the platform, her hands were tied behind her back. Her face was expressionless, almost proud. She walked up the steps with her spine straight, head high. A hood was offered. She refused it. The noose was placed around her neck. She looked out at the crowd one last time. A faint smile crossed her lips. The executioner pulled the lever. Her body fell. The rope snapped tight. There was no struggle, no sound. She died in seconds. The crowd erupted, not in cheers, but in raw, weary release. Some shouted, others wept. Many simply watched in silence, as if witnessing a door finally closing. Her body hung there for hours, like the bodies she had once observed so casually. By sunset, her remains were taken down and buried in an unmarked grave. No one mourned, no one prayed. The woman once called the Beautiful Beast died as she had lived, unmoved, untouched by pity, and terrifying in her calm. But her beauty, once a mask for cruelty, died with her. The photographs of that day show no glamour, no arrogance, only the lifeless body of a woman who chose evil and met its end. Jenny Wanda Barkmann's last hours were brutal, not because death was brutal, but because she was. Her smile, her silence, her lack of remorse, they were the final insult to the people she destroyed. Her execution was not a triumph. It was a line drawn under a story too dark for forgiveness. History doesn't forget. It only waits to be retold. Subscribe for more untold stories from the darkest chapters of history.